What up, YouTube? So this is going to be part 3 of the Honda Civic K20 Type R build, and as you can see, this is the bone stock D16Y7 motor that we're going to be taking out today. I'm going to show you guys how to drop this motor because I'm sure a lot of you, even go on B series, still need to drop your single cam out. So got to be going through the basics right now of what you need to do to disconnect it. So right now we got the harness, obviously. Got throttle cable, disconnect fuel, disconnect the headers, radiator hoses, heater hoses, air box, and the mounts. It's a really simple swap to take out. So I'm gonna go step by step right now. Let me show you the motor. So this is what's going to be going in. I did just get the motor mounts in today. I do have my subframe, rack and pinion. I just need one bracket actually for the rack and pinion. But right now I'm going to go ahead and start disassembling everything. So I'm going to start with this harness over here. They're pretty easy, just unclip it. Yeah, you pull back and then you lift up. Sometimes you got to wiggle it up a little bit. That's it. Then you just click that off and it'll pull out. Pretty simple. So on this side, you have to actually take off the battery tray and to take off the ECU plugs and everything. So we'll get to that. Right now, I'm gonna go ahead and start taking the air box off, and I'll probably start taking off the fuel system, throttle cable, and everything, and kind of start getting most of the things taken apart so you can see what I've done. So we'll come back after that. So now that we're back, I want to show you what I did. So I took the battery tray off. It's just 3 12mm bolts and then 2 10s to take off this to get to the ECU and everything. And then this is just a push-up tab to pull up on the tab that's on connected to. I did this side of the fuel so far. It's just a 17mm. The air box, you're gonna have a 10mm right here and right here, 2 right there. What else did I do? And then there's an 8mm that goes on the throttle body, and then on here is the bracket too that holds the air box on together. And then I took off this hose. So now that we're all caught up, the next thing we're gonna do is start taking off all our grounds, which is one right here. You got one 10mm ground right there. You got one right here. And then we're also gonna do the slave cylinder, which is 2 12mm bolts right there. So just really simple stuff right now. The next thing, I'll probably just go ahead and disconnect the harness from the ECU. So I don't know if this door is locked. What we're gonna have to do, the ECU is behind here. You can kind of just pull on them, and I'll get my puller. So I'm gonna pull this tab right here off, this tab out right here, and then there's like 3 10mm bolts that are holding the ECU down. And so we'll take that, disconnect the plugs, which I'll show you once we get that done, and then come back, show you what that is. Disconnect the, like I said, the harness. There's a 10mm bolt on the starter, and then there's also 2 10s right here for the slave cylinder hydraulic line. So we'll pull that all off, and then next thing we'll do is probably get to the manifold, take the shield off, and then disconnect the O2 sensors and everything. And we'll also, right now, I'm gonna disconnect the fuel line, which is just this clip right here, and disconnect the throttle cable as well. So, and I might as well go ahead and disconnect this brake booster hose, which is very simple, just need some pliers. So I'm gonna go ahead and knock that out real fast, and then we'll come back, show you what I did. All right, so now that we're back, I'm gonna show you what I did. We got throttle disconnected, brake booster line, 2 10s from the throttle cable bracket. The fuel line return was just a little hose clamp, so that was easy. Got a ground off right here, 10mm. Slave cylinder, two 12 millimeters are out. Had the ground over here on the transmission, 10 millimeter, and then the two 10 millimeters for the slave cylinder bracket. So this is all out the way. I went ahead and took the harness out, so I'm gonna show you that. So it's just 4 plugs. You got this one that's connected with the green plug right here, and then you have 3 on the ECU. There's about 2, I believe, 2 10 millimeters. There should be 2, but there's only 1, I guess, holding it down. So pretty sure there's something was swapped on this car maybe before. But yeah, it should be 2 10 millimeters, maybe 3. I think these slide in, so just 2. And then the ECU will come out, but I'll do that later. Not really necessary right now. I also took out the 2 8 millimeters that was right here that held on the harness. That's for the starter charge and the alternator. So all that is disconnected. The harness is free right now. I also took the plug off of here that's connected to the harness. So the things I need to disconnect now as far as from the engine will be the radiator hoses. You have this purge valve hose right here, just pliers. The heater hose is back here, and I believe, let's see, that should be it as far as like hoses, everything that's connecting the car to the chassis. So we're gonna do that next, and then so we're gonna get rid of the radiator hoses, and I guess I can start on the exhaust manifold, taking that off. And after I guess we got everything done on top, we'll start at the bottom with doing the axles, shift linkage, and get to the lower bottom mounts, which are 14 millimeter bolts. So I'm gonna go ahead and knock that out, and then we'll come back, show you what else we need to do next. All right, so we got our radiator completely out. Only thing I didn't mention was just the fan. You just push it down and pull up. That's pretty much it. It's pretty simple. I disconnected the O2 sensors. I got the manifold disconnected from the head. Some people are wondering why I don't just keep it on there. It's because I dropped the motors from the bottom. It's just a lot easier, and I'm in the dirt, so it's kind of hard to roll a cherry picker, which I don't know. I just like to drop them from the bottom anyways. But so got my rear hoses off as well. Heater hoses are out of here, so no more radiator fluid. Took off this purge valve line, and now we're ready to get to suspension. So knock out this tire real quick. All right, so we're gonna start with the axle nut. It's a 32 millimeter. You want to pry this up, so you want to make sure it'll be easier for the nut to come out, or it'll be really hard unless you do that. You got a 17 right here with the pin through it. It's easier to just use some wire cutters and pull that right out. This is a 17 on each side. You need to hold it in order to pull the nut out on this side. And then we have a 14 right here, and that'll drop the shoehorn, and then we can pop the ball joint. You want to hit it right here with a hammer, or if you have a ball joint breaker. But if you plan on trying to keep these, I'd rather just hit it right here, because the ball joint breakers do kind of mess these bushings up. Other than that, we have 3 14 millimeter bolts on the exhaust on the bottom one, so we'll probably take that off, and then do the mid pipe as well, which is a 12 millimeter and 14 on the other side, I believe. And also the shift linkage. So the shift linkage is a 12 millimeter, and then there's a dowel pin on the other one, which you want to use like a 12 millimeter bolt with that's kind of pointing. There's kind of pointy bolts, stock Honda bolts, and hammer that out. But right now I'm gonna go ahead and start dropping the suspension. getting the axles out, the shift linkage, and then after that we'll be able to take this bolt off right here, like a 10 millimeter, and get to these mounts. They're 14 millimeter bolts, and that'll drop on both sides, so the motor will just drop down. Once we finish that and we have the axles, exhaust out of the way, then we can hit the motor mounts and then drop it down, and it should be ready to go. So we'll go ahead and get to this axles and everything, and we'll come back. All right, so as you can see, axles are out, shift linkage is out, exhaust is unbolted. So now I got to get to this cover right here. It's a couple 10 millimeter bolts holding down here, some clips or whatever. So we're gonna take this off, and then that'll get us to expose the bottom lower vibration mounts. So once we take those off, those will be able to drop with the engine. So there's 2 on each side. After that, we'll do the rear mount, which is a 17 millimeter bolt. Hopefully it's not too rusted. And yeah, after that, we'll do the left and right mount, drop the motor, and that is it. Or if you are doing a different way, you can lift it up through the top. It's all up to you. But if you are going through the top, you want to take the brackets completely off from the engine instead, just because it's going to be going up if you were get actually hit right here. Or you can actually take this bolt out instead if you want to lift it up, and I believe that should free it from the bracket. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and we'll knock this out, and then we'll come back and get ready to drop it. All right, so now we got our rear mount, our side mounts, and everything is dropped out. All I have to do is lift the car up and pick the motor out, and it's ready. If anybody is interested, I believe the block is still good. The head had no compression. It only had 150,000 miles on this car, which is pretty low for a 98 Civic, so almost 22 years old basically. Training's still good, 5-speed. If you need mounts, harness, ECU, just let me know. Next video, we're gonna be cleaning everything up and dropping the Type R in. I got my mounts in, got my headers. I might do the wiring myself. If I get bored or whatever, I probably will. And then, yeah, so this car should be coming out this week, hopefully. I do have my axles as well. Subframe is over there. Rack and pinion. So I'm gonna go ahead and just end this video right now, since not much left to do except for pick the engine up out of here. So if you haven't, like, share, subscribe, comment, let me know what you guys think. If you want to hit me up on Instagram, it's KSeriousWorks. Also, you can hit me up on my email, which is honda.mike1988@gmail.com. And stay tuned, guys. Got a lot of content. Spider, CRX, K20 Type R, all coming soon. See you guys till next time.